So I took some time to reflect. This has nothing to do with what the video we're talking about, but it has everything to do with the channel and the videos that will be coming out on this channel. But I had to sit down and be like, why am I doing this? I know I've only been it's not even been 3 weeks. It hasn't even been a month of me doing this, but motivation, it's a thing. And I'm just in between on what I want to do and what I want to do it. And this is fun. And I really enjoy doing this, talking about sports. And that's what I realize is I don't need to make a video on everything. I just need to make a video when I want to make a video, talk about what I want to talk about. And most of my most popular videos so far in the limited time I've been doing have been about American sports. But I also am very interested in international sports, Formula One and the EPL mainly. And so that's why this video, we're going to talk about Formula One. And with the season picking back up again this weekend, in Zandvoort, the last Dutch Grand Prix because they're not renewing their contract. I thought I'd just give you guys some of my takeaways so far from the season. And the first thing by far is Kimi Antonelli, a teenager, a 19-year-old, has been far and away the best driver. Now, I know a lot of people will say, well, he's been in the best car. George Russell's been in the best car. I know he's had some issues, but he's also not been as consistent as Kimi has been in that car. Kimi has been the most consistent driver in this half, and the only couple bad results he's had is, the first one where he was kind of yeeting around those corners and had a little bit of lockup issues. I forgot what race it was, but otherwise, it's just been car issues. DNFs have been really the reason why he had a bad result. This last race before the break, getting the penalties, starting all the way back, I think in 7th, whatever, and getting a podium, beating his top 2 rivals in the Drivers' Championship in Russell and Hamilton. He's been great, and it's amazing that a 19-year-old is doing this. And, as we start the second half of the season, the biggest question is going to be, and compared to what Oscar did last year. Oscar had a commanding lead, I thought, and he looked like the Iceman. He was in control of everything. And then the second half of the season, Max and Lando just started to push. And is that going to happen with Kimi? I don't think so, because I think the car is a lot, the difference in cars this year is a lot bigger than the difference in cars last year. Even though McLaren started, pick up some things that they're going to challenge. We'll get into Lando later, but I think Lando's been driving fantastic when he hasn't had problems. But I don't think he's going to have the fall off like Oscar did last year. I think he's going to stay strong and, stay calm, cool, and collected. And he showed that again when he earned that podium in Hungary, beating the top 2 rivals. The second thing I want to talk about is I think something that might be a little crazy. And it also kind of contradicts what I'm saying about Kimi, but not really, because George has also just need to continue being bad, which I don't think he will. So that's why this is kind of out there. But I think Ferrari, they might have an off chance on winning the Constructors. I think they have the most reliable car. They don't have the fastest car, but I think reliability issues have not been there on the Ferrari like it has been on the Merc, the McLaren. Red Bull's still only driving with one driver, even though Isaac finishing 40 seconds behind would usually put him middle of the pack. But with the car difference, he's only finishing 8th, which is bottom of the best, the worst of the best. That's where he's finishing right now. But of course, the one thing that will forever and always hold Ferrari back is going to be their pit wall. What is Freddie cooking up? Is he going to keep cooking up duds? Or is he going to have the occasional good race where they actually could get some wins and some great performances? I don't know. Well, yeah, I don't know. But I think that they might cook up something good. I would not be surprised if Ferrari ended up winning the Constructors' Championship. I mentioned earlier about Lando. It might not seem, I feel like he's having the greatest title defense to a lot of people, but I think if you ranked him anywhere from the second best to the 4th best driver this year, you wouldn't be wrong. When he's had a working car, those performances he's put in have been awesome. Truly, they have been awesome. These past towards the end of the first half, he's definitely probably been the second best driver out there. Lewis is just keeping up minor penalties. Max is Max. He's always going to be great, but he's very frustrated with these regulations. A lot of people are frustrated with that, but I kind of feel like his head's not in it. And Lando, when he's had a good car, when he's had a car that works, he's had great performances. And he's proved it again this past race in Hungary, where he just literally, I'm faster than Oscar. And then as soon as Oscar gets out, and then he gets that free space ahead of him, he's just pulling out a gap. And I believe Will Joseph, right, is his engineer, goes on the radio and says, hey, we get it. You proved your point. You don't need to keep going faster and faster and faster. They want to secure this lead. And so I think Lando has been putting up a good title defense. It's just a shame that he's not in the fastest car of Mercedes, even though McLaren has a Mercedes engine and that car just isn't up to snuff, I would say. But who knows? Maybe if he has the pace like he had at Hungary the rest of the year, he could put Kimi on put some pressure on Kimi. Challenge for that title. Pull off what he did last year and coming back and winning the Drivers' Championship. That would be amazing to see. Before we get into the sadness and badness of this past season, I want to talk about, or this past half year, not this past season, the season's not over yet. It's far from over. We're still halfway there. Anything could happen. And one of those things that I think definitely will happen is a collision between Lawson and Lindblad. Their battle for the best of the rest, which I think VCarb has been, is awesome. It's amazing. It's some of the best racing that we have on the track. And I think for when Liam Lawson doing 2 races at Red Bull, getting pushed down to the junior team, might have affected him a little bit last year, but this year he has bounced back and had a great season. Lindblad, for being a rookie, has shown amazing potential, and who knows how long he'll be in a VCarb seat and he won't get that top Red Bull seat if Isaac is still 40 seconds behind, because I know Red Bull doesn't have like the front office of cutthroatness as they had in the past with Christian Horner there and some other guy that I can't remember the name of right now. But if Lindblad keeps showing this, he might be in a top team sooner rather than later. But I also think what might be hurting him is he might get the reputation that he's always going to be fighting for himself and in it for himself with this fights that he's having with Lawson. He doesn't need to be fighting him sometimes, but he does because he wants to make it the best for himself, which is what you would want your driver to do. But getting this reputation at such a young age in your first Formula One season, I just wonder how that's going to affect the rest of his career and if he's going to have that reputation of just, I'm in it for myself, no one else really matters. I don't care about my teammate. I just want to win. I want to get the best result I possibly can. And you want that mentality in a driver, but how's it going to go? Because Formula One is a team game. It is a team game. You're going to need your second driver, your teammate, to help you out in some situations. Will the team step in and say something? Will there be papaya rules? Will there be VCarb rules? Probably not, because they're not challenging for a title, but it's going to be interesting to see. And I can guarantee there'll be a collision between those two at some point. There will be. There absolutely will be a collision. One of them will get taken out of the race. Both of them might get taken out of the race. I'm leaning more towards it being Lindblad's fault, if we're being honest, but there will be a collision between the two VCarbs this season. Now for the sadness and depression part of this little Formula One mid-season rant. Aston Martin and Williams. Holy disappointment. I know Aston brought the upgrades to Hungary and they're looking like, hey, maybe we're not 3 seconds behind, only a second and a half. Like maybe they can be challenging and fighting for some points as the second half of the season goes on. But the hype that was around them in the offseason, Adrian Newey coming over there, they're going to have this great car. It's going to be unstoppable. We want Max Verstappen to be in. Can you imagine? Max already hates these regulations. If he was in an Aston Martin this year, Max would have been done after the first race. He would not be in Formula One right now if he went to Aston. And I just, the hype, the silly season of it all, it not happening. It just, imagine if Max Verstappen was in an Aston Martin right now. Again, he wouldn't be in the car. He wouldn't be in Formula One. But they did show some progress in Hungary, and hopefully they can continue to bring that. I think Honda's going to bring them some engine upgrades at some point. So hopefully they continue to grow because we want to see Aston at the front, You want to see them fighting. You want to see them challenging. You want to see Lance Stroll possibly getting a win. That would be something. I'll tell you, Lance Stroll getting a win would be something. But Williams, oh my God, James Vowell. Oh my God, I think you might be the most disappointing team out there. I know we could talk about Cadillac, but we're not going to talk about Cadillac. As the American fan, I won't mention them. But we knew that Cadillac was going to be bad, and maybe not this bad so far, but we knew they were going to be at the back of the pack. Williams and Vowles was planning for 2026 to be the year, but it's just been a major flop. It's like, what is going on, James? You've had this hype. You've sold this dream to everyone. You sold this dream to Carlos Sainz. I think you probably have the best midfield driver lineup. Even though you're not in the midfield, you're in the backfield. Sainz and Albon is one of the best driver lineups. I don't care what you say. I believe in Formula One. You did a lot to get Sainz there. He won't be staying that long. He won't be. He's going to try to get his way back to a top team. He's going to try to go to Audi. He's going to try to get something back. So this is make or break for Vowles in the second half of the season. Do I think they'll fire him if it goes wrong? No. But if 2027 goes astray, James Vowles might not be in a job. He might not be in a job when 2027 comes around, or like during 2027 season, if it continues to be bad and there's no improvement. Do I think there'll be improvement? I don't know. They have the drivers to improve and make those improvements that if they give them a good car, they'll get good results. But they're not giving them a good car, and I don't see the results coming unless they do. But that driver lineup is really good. I like Albon and Sainz as a driver lineup for a midfield team. And these videos just usually end, and the cutoff, the end of my last point. But I want to thank you guys for, watching, supporting, listening, and helping me find what I want to do. And what I want to do is just talk about sports that I like. And this is one of those videos. You'll definitely see more F1, more soccer. But thank you guys. I appreciate it all. And I'm very excited for the Formula One to get picked back up for the second half of the season. It's going to be awesome. So as I was going through and editing this video up and talking about my mid-season takes, Red Bull decides to drop 2 pieces of news, not just one, 2 pieces of new news. Shout out to New Heights Podcast, I didn't mean to say that. And they're kind of based on topics that I talked about already. You know, we talked about Max Verstappen, if he joined Aston Martin, what it would mean, how he probably wouldn't even be in Formula One anymore, how he hates the regulations. Must not hate them that much. He signed a contract through 2030 with Red Bull. So Max is going to be staying in Formula One. It's great for the sport. Is it great for his mental health? I don't know. He's allowed to do all those other races, those GP races that he loves doing. He's probably going to be streaming and sim racing all the time. But having Max Verstappen in Formula One only makes Formula One better. He's going to put a challenge on every title fight. He's going to make an impact in every race. And so I'm not a Max fan. I'm not a Max hater, but I'm also not a very I joined the sport. I thought the way he won his first championship in Abu Dhabi over Lewis Hamilton was kind of bullshit, but that wasn't his fault. That was the FIA's fault. And then him just being a monster and dominating Formula One as I've gotten to my first couple of years, right? I'm not going to cheer for the already dominating guy, but having him in the races, having him in Formula One is great for the sport. So I'm happy to see that he decided to re-sign a contract. He'll probably be bitching and moaning about the regulations all the way through, but it's nice to have him still in the sport, at least through 2030. And then maybe even the bigger Red Bull news is Isaac Hadjar is going to be out this week for Zandvoort. Who knows if it's going to be multiple races? I believe we have this race weekend, then an off weekend, then we're going into a triple header. So at least he'll have a week to recover before the triple header starts. But, we have 3-4 weeks off and no news comes out. And then 2 days before the race, Red Bull's like, hey, guess what? We got news. And they're just dropping everything. And Yuki Tsunoda is going into VCARB. So which VCARB driver is getting pulled up? Liam Lawson, the man who got booted out of Red Bull last year after 2 races. So this is huge. This is great for Liam, right? It's giving him that next opportunity. He's had a great year so far, like we've already mentioned. His fights with Lindblad are going to be now at different levels. And if Lindblad and Lawson get into it while Lawson's in the Red Bull and Lindblad's in the VCARB, oh my God, the storyline just even writes itself even more for when he has to go back when Isaac comes back. But this is awesome for Liam. I think it was unfair for what happened to him last year in Red Bull, only getting the 2 races, the 2 opportunities. His first season in the top team, especially with the new regulations coming too, it sucked what happened to him. But now he has the opportunity to prove himself, show the other top teams, show Red Bull, hey, put Isaac back down, make me that next guy. I am that next guy up. I'm having a better season. Well, he's not having a better season than Isaac, but the way you could, is he though? You could just look at it based on the cars, he probably is, honestly, he probably is having a better season than Isaac. I don't know why I say he definitely is having a better season than Isaac. And so see how he performs in the car. It might only be 1 race. It might be 2 races. We will see, but I'm ready to see what Liam can do. I think, again, he's having great momentum. Maybe this puts a fire under Lindblad a little bit more, even though he's only a rookie, so they definitely weren't going to be putting him in the seat. But maybe he gets a little salty. He sees him on the track and, gives him a little wheel to wheel and he spins out. And then Lawson's like, what the hell, Lindblad? And Lindblad just drives off yep, I'm that guy, pal. I'm that asshole. But Formula One, oh my God, Red Bull. You couldn't have dropped this earlier in the summer break. You had to wait until literally before the race to let everyone know that Isaac hurt himself boxing, which if that's in his contract, I know NFL contracts, right? They have certain things quarterbacks probably can't do boxing because their wristed hands are so important. Is that in his contract? I know he's been doing it since he's been young as a way to stay in shape and everything, but he's given Liam an opportunity. He's opened the door for Liam Lawson to possibly bump himself out of that seat and let Liam reclaim his spot as that second Red Bull driver.